Hi and welcome to this short video providing an overview of our free 8-week program designed to help you build a more explosive first step and by virtue of that enhance your point ending power on the court. There are timestamps in the description, but here's an overview of what we're going to talk about. There's 4 short things that we'll go into today. The first is we will define exactly what it is that we're looking to improve on court by completing this program and why that matters. Second, we'll delve a little bit into the scientific underpinnings of what we're looking to improve off the court, giving you some insight into the what and why of what's included in this program. Third, we'll give you an overview of what's in your program pack and how we've set up this training cycle. And finally, we will touch on what this program isn't, because that's important to define as well. A little bit about me. I'm Charlie. I'm a strength and conditioning coach who's worked with over 700 athletes at the time of this presentation. And as you can see, I enjoy getting silly photos with the athletes that I've supported in person. I've worked with all kinds of people from world champions, Paralympic gold medalists, and professional athletes in a multitude of different sports. With badminton specifically, I've played a supporting role in over 100 podiums on the world tour. I currently support badminton athletes around the globe who compete on tour, at national level, and recreationally. And it's my mission to show you how you can apply the principles of performance at the top of the game to your game, helping you win more points, regardless of if you are a full-time athlete or you have a full-time job. You can learn more about me and our individual training services by visiting our social channels, but here's a quick overview of how I look at training. I strive to be an essentialist in training, doing what we need to do to improve. Now, sometimes that's going to be less, sometimes it's going to be more, but it's always an attempt at better. My philosophy on the right-hand side is quite simple. I want to meet you where you are now and anchor decisions to one question. Will this help you win more points? The people that I train them through 4 guiding principles or pillars. First, we have to keep it simple. If we can't describe a program on a post-it note, it's probably more complicated than it needs to be. The second one is that we chase adaptations, not exercises. There is no one way that things have to be done. There is an underlying thing that we want to change, but the methods are many. Third is consistency over intensity. Now, intensity is valuable. We need it to create a stimulus, but consistency is what creates change. You can try and sprint up a mountain, but good luck with that. Compound interest is ultimately what we want. 1 block, 1 week, 1 session at a time. Finally, we want to work towards a shared North Star. We want something emotive that we're trying to achieve that matters to us. And in relation to this program, our North Star is improving your first step on the court. For me, if we look at this great sport simply for a moment, regardless of your discipline, singles, doubles, we can break the underlying physicality to perform on court into these 4 categories. You've got point ending power, your ability to put the shuttle on the floor. Court control, your ability to stay low, own the space, stay strong in lunges. You've got your 3-set engine, your ability to repeat high intensity actions over 3 sets and recover between points. And finally, your training resilience, your ability to show up, train well, stay robust, and stay healthy. This program focuses on point ending power, and more specifically, that's about developing an explosive first step with some lovely examples of high speed execution on the right hand side of the screen. Now, there was a paper in 2025 that looked at the characteristics of split step performance in top 5 in the world badminton athletes. One of the qualities that they looked at was reaction time, where they looked at the difference between the opponent making contact with the shuttle and the player initiating their first step towards the shuttle. What they found was that the average time was 250 milliseconds. There were instances over 300 and below 200 milliseconds, but the average was 250. This tells us that we're talking about something on the border of what we would consider a fast stretch shortening cycle activity. So what does that mean for us in terms of what we're trying to achieve in training this quality off court? Now, it takes humans somewhere in the region of 400 milliseconds or commonly above to reach absolute peak force production. But on the court, we simply don't have that much time, as we've just seen. Our window of time to project ourselves to the shuttle is significantly shorter, so our rate of force development, or how much of this peak we can access quickly, matters. So we need to be able to produce a higher level of force, but also do it quickly. It's why we want to be athlete B in that graph on the left. Athlete A might ultimately have a higher ceiling of force production that they can access, but it simply takes them too long. Athlete B has already taken the shuttle early and they have ended the point. With our program, we are focusing on three main areas. We have plyometrics, so exercises with a fast ground contact. These will improve our stretch reflex, whose job it is to monitor changes in muscle length and speed and tell muscles how hard they need to contract to overcome that. That's the contraction we want to move fast. Plyos also detrain what we call the Golgi tendon organ, which is like an emergency shut-off switch to protect the tendons. Naturally, it can be a bit overprotective and it shuts you down a bit too early, where exposure to plyometrics enable us to tell the brain it's okay, and it's going to give us more output from the stretch reflex. We have heavy resistance training, so things like a squat. We want to store as much energy into our load up as possible. And you can't have a high rate of force development if you don't have a high ceiling of force to access in the first place. Heavy lifts are going to raise the ceiling of our potential output, as well as stiffening our tendons so that they don't buckle under the violent nature of these movements on court. Finally, we are going to do lots of explosive lifts, so things like loaded jumps and throws. These are going to allow us to accelerate the whole way through movements and develop our concentric output, the ability to help us explode towards the shuttle. This program is going to comprise 2 full body training sessions per week in 2 phases that are 4 weeks in duration. They'll feature some plyometrics, explosive movements, and supplementary full body strength, and designed to take around about an hour to complete. We're following a simple step loading approach in terms of something we call periodization, or a fancy word of how we manage our training volume and intensity, whereby we're going to increase the volume of work that we do each week over a three-week period before we have something of a deload that enables the body to recover and adapt. This program is 2 phases, where we move from more extensive submaximal work in the first phase to lay a foundation, and then we build on that foundation with more intensive training in the second phase. We also have 2 simple performance tests to complete before starting and after finishing the program. We've selected well-backed tests in research that you can complete at home with minimal equipment. You just need a tape measure. It's not to say that they are the best tests, but they're ones that we should be able to access easily. We have a broad jump to measure our explosiveness with a longer ground contact time, something that correlates highly to our acceleration. And we have the triple hop to measure our explosiveness in a more reactive test, which correlates well to our faster stretch shortening cycle activities and can tell you about how well your non-racket leg is performing in relation to your racket leg, although that's beyond the scope of this program. So what this program isn't. Badminton's complex. You need to be able to move quickly, be strong in lunges, repeat it over 3 sets, and stay robust throughout a training week. This program is only attacking our point-ending power, specifically one element of it, an explosive first step. It's not going to consider your on-court training. It doesn't consider your lifestyle, your work schedule, your strengths and weaknesses as an athlete, or you as an individual and your preferences. This program also isn't for beginners. You should have a strong base of training in the weight room, and as always, you should consult medical professionals prior to starting an exercise plan. We do offer individualized strength and conditioning support, and you can see some recent testimonials to the right-hand side here. This is something that Zach has benefited from greatly in the build-up to his medal at the European Championships in 2026. Our mission is to make tour-tested strength and conditioning accessible to you and delivered straight to your pocket. We remove the guesswork, providing you with individualized training built around your sport, your schedule, your situation, your current level, and where you're trying to get to. With this free program, we can expect that yellow line on the left-hand side to increase, but maybe not the others. Thank you for your time in watching this short accompanying presentation to our 8-week program designed to give you a more explosive first step. If you're watching this prior to starting the program, happy training. Please do update me in how you're getting on. I would genuinely love to hear. If you're watching this and you want access to the free program, please consult our social media channels. Finally, to learn more about how we can balance your on-court training with an individualized strength and conditioning plan, please get in touch via the address shown on the slide. Thank you for your time.